Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today. First of all, taking a look at this 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, because right here you can see that Bitcoin is trading inside this big level of support, sitting from 70,000 all the way down to 68.5k. And of course, right now we are trading inside a weekend, meaning that we do have that CME gap being created once again. And in the case that you don't know, the CME gap is actually this right here, because here the market closed for the Bitcoin CME futures and that was at about 69.5k, but I will accept anything between 69.6k and 69.3k and consider the CME gap being filled, because typically what you'll see is that when the market opens, there can be a difference between the close price right here, and then let's say that over the weekend the Bitcoin price really pumps, then the market actually opens somewhere up here. And usually what you'll see is a quick move down to actually fill the CME gap, and then a continuation from there, either to the upside or to the downside. Hopefully what we'll see is just a closing of that CME gap at the beginning of the week, so we don't have to worry about that for the rest of the week. Either way, so in the case that you do see the Bitcoin price trading above that 70k level, likely we will be heading up to this next level of short-term resistance at 70.5k. Although do keep in mind that we have this big descending channel on the daily time frame with resistance sitting as low as about 70.3k. So of course we will run into that before going to that 70.5k level. And personally, this price level is actually what I'm looking out for the next week, because if I do see a breakout back above, maybe flipping it into a level of support or seeing some price action like that, then I am expecting a further move to the upside from there. But so long as we do not clear above that level of resistance, it is just delusional to expect the Bitcoin price to just shoot straight up, right? So first you have to see confirmation that we're actually trading above that level, and then from there we can look for a further continuation. But so long as we haven't done that, then yes, we can go much lower for the Bitcoin price, because Bitcoin is just in this big consolidation pattern. So just going to the bottom of the range again wouldn't be completely crazy looking at it from a technical analysis perspective, right? And currently that price is at 57,000 US dollars. So personally, like I said, that is really what I'm looking out for, to see if we actually get that breakout above next week. And in the case that we don't, maybe we get some price action up to that level to sweep some liquidity there and then get a rejection from there, then yes, of course, I am going to flip much more bearish in the short term here. Although do remember, like I say in every one of these videos, because some of you guys are new to trading and don't understand this yet, I can be short-term bearish and long-term bullish at the same time. So on the higher time frame, I am obviously still very bullish because we are in a massive uptrend for Bitcoin right now. Although if you take a look at shorter time frames, like for example here on the 1-hour time frame, I can be more bearish. Like for example, when I shorted this move to the downside here. So it is important to understand that being long-term bullish and short-term bearish do not contradict each other, because you can have smaller downtrends in a larger uptrend. Now, if you want to stay bullish here during this next week, what you really need to look out for is actually an invalidation of this pattern, because so long as this doesn't happen, so the price doesn't trade below that 68.9k level, so long as that does not happen with confirmed candle closes, then Bitcoin is actually still targeting this 75,000 US dollar level. So there is actually reason to believe that the price is going up here. Although, like I said, you need to look for this invalidation, because if the price starts trading below that, then Bitcoin is no longer targeting that 75k level. So pay attention to that next week. And in terms of another bullish chart here, you can see that on the daily time frame, Bitcoin is actually in this larger ascending triangle pattern, which is a bullish bias pattern. So it is more likely to break out to the upside. And that quick move you saw to the downside on Friday was actually just a rejection from the top of that ascending triangle, denying the breakout for now, but did not invalidate the pattern, because we just bounced from this level of support right here. So what will happen next? Well, if you see a breakout above this 72,000 US dollar level, then Bitcoin is actually targeting this 87k price target. Okay, so that would be a massive price target, setting up as soon as we break out above 72k of about a 20% move to the upside. Although if you do see something like this, where the price starts trading below this upward sloping level of support, then you need to start getting a little bit more cautious here, because it might indicate that we are seeing more bearish momentum coming soon, as this bullish pattern is then invalidated. Now, there are a couple of side points to kind of note for this pattern as well. For example, if you see something like this where you get a breakout, well, then of course you do have the point of invalidation. So you open the trade only after it actually breaks out. Maybe on the shorter time frame, you see something like this, a breakout, retest, resumption, confirming that it is actually breaking out and that this is a level of support. Anyways, if you then see the price start trading below the point of the breakout, you know that this pattern is then invalidated and Bitcoin is no longer targeting that 87K price target. So that's why when you open a trade like this, you only open it at the point of the breakout when you actually see the price breaking out with confirmation on the lower time frames. And then after that, let's say the price moves up a little bit, then you just set your stop loss exactly at the point of the breakout. So if you get a quick move down, it either stops you out at break even or a little bit of profit. Okay, so lastly, before I move on to the rest of the Bitcoin analysis, I do want to mention these two Fibonacci levels. So the 0.786 Fibonacci level sitting at 70.1K, roughly speaking. However, you also need to pay attention to this level right here. If we see a move to the downside, so this 0.618 Fibonacci level sitting at 67.2K, because breaking below that would invalidate a bunch of the bullish patterns that I just mentioned earlier. And besides that, if we really do not hold this as a level of support, then it could actually indicate much more bearish momentum coming soon, because then all the bullish patterns are no longer relevant. So these are two important price levels to pay attention to. And now let's take a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat maps. First of all, on the 24-hour time frame here, because yeah, I mean, this chart looks ridiculous. Bitcoin has been completely flat for 24 hours. But besides that, you can see that there's a little bit of liquidity right here at 70.1K. However, most of the liquidity on the 24-hour time frame is to the downside at about 68.8K. And typically you will see the Bitcoin price get attracted to where there is the most liquidity on this chart. And in this case, it is to the downside on the 24-hour time frame. Although zooming out here a little bit to the 3-day time frame, you can see that most of the liquidity is actually to the upside if you zoom out far enough. So here you can see that you have liquidity as high as 72.6K. So potentially you can see the Bitcoin price get attracted to that level. Although personally, I'm still completely open to the idea that we actually sweep the liquidity to the downside first before then heading to the upside, sweeping this upside level of liquidity. Because you see Bitcoin doing this over and over again. For example, right here, even just a couple of days ago, first we take out a bunch of liquidity right here, and then just get a crazy move down, taking out all of the downside liquidity right here. So Bitcoin has a history of doing this. And that's why it is important to be careful when you're using high leverage. Now, before I move on to the Ethereum and Solana analysis, I do want to mention my trading signals, which you can get access to for free. And I do think this will be very helpful next week because I am expecting a lot of volatility in the markets. So the way you get access to my trading signals is simply by registering either to Blofin or MEXC. Personally, I trade the most on MEXC because you can trade with fees as low as 0.01%. And besides that, if you're new to MEXC, you can get up to $1,000 in trading and depositing bonuses simply for trading and being active on that platform. Now, if for any reason you cannot register to MEXC or you cannot KYC on MEXC, then I recommend you check out Blofin, because on Blofin, all you need is an email address, so you don't need to KYC. On Blofin as well, you can get up to $500 in trading and depositing bonuses. You can find the links to this in the Discord server as well as just in the video description of this video. So if you do end up registering on one of these two exchanges and you want access to the trading signals, then just join the Discord server and tag me in there, or just open a support ticket so I can give you access to these signals for free. So taking a look at ETH here, you can see that we do have this Fibonacci resistance right here at $4,000, the 0.786 Fibonacci level. And below that, we do have the 0.618 Fibonacci level sitting at 33.30. And for now, Ethereum is just trading in between those levels. There isn't really too much to say about that. I do want to share this pattern with you guys because technically speaking, Ethereum is still targeting this price target of about $4,100 from this falling wedge pattern that I called out in a bunch of videos recently. When I saw this breakout to the upside, and even before this was breaking out to the upside, I was already mentioning this pattern right here. So that is important to note. Ethereum is technically still targeting that price target so long as we are trading above $3,100. And with regards to the support and resistance, we do have this level of support right here at 36.50. So Ethereum is kind of just bouncing around that support level. Although if we do break below it, then the next level of support below that will be from 35.30 all the way down to 34.30. However, if we do just get Ethereum bouncing from this level of support, then likely we will be heading up to this next level of resistance, sitting from 37.50 all the way up to 3,800, with above that these two levels of resistance at 38.50 and 39.20. So those are some key price levels to pay attention to for ETH. And with regards to Solana on the 4-hour time frame, of course, last Friday we saw this massive dump to the downside in no time. Fortunately, I shorted this move to the downside. So here you saw this break to the downside, retesting that same level, and then getting a massive rejection from there, even trading below the 0.5 Fibonacci level, and then getting a rejection from there. So yeah, Solana is just down bad right now. So you should be paying attention to this 0.5 Fibonacci level sitting at $163. Because, for example, if you get another rejection from here, then we are likely heading to this next Fibonacci level of support sitting at $151 for the price of Solana. So with regards to the short-term levels of support and resistance, Solana basically held this critical level of support at about $155 for the price of Sol, because if it did trade below that, or if it does that next week, then the next level of support below that is sitting from $150 all the way down to $140. Although with regards to resistance, if you see Solana continuing to trade to the upside, we have this level of resistance sitting at $164. And below that, of course, we also have that Fibonacci level that I was talking about earlier. So if you do see a break through both of those levels right there, then the next level of resistance above that is from 166 all the way up to $172 for the price of Solana. This has been today's market update. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.